UFC Fight Week got off to a great start this year with a concert by 3 Day Grace, the Tough Enough Amateur Fight Tournament, and of course the hot UFC pool party featuring the infamous Octagon Girls. If you didn't have a chance to make it out this year, fear not. We have an all-access pass, and you, my friend, are invited. Let's hit it.
The Expo was packed this year with every kind of mixed martial arts vendor you can imagine. Apparel, nutrition, video games, workshops, and what's MMA without a good tattoo artist? Carlos Macedo of Vatican Studios.
One of the best tattoo artists I've ever seen. Carlos, I was looking at your portfolio earlier, and you do some outstanding work, my friend.
Thank you very much.
What are you working on right now?
Right now I'm working on a Vanderlei Silva portrait. We did a contest with bjpen.com, and the contest is enter your information and win your favorite MMA fighter, a free portrait. We got a lot of submissions, anywhere from Tito Ortiz to Vitor Belfort to Ronda Rousey, Bones Jones, everybody, pretty much everybody in the UFC, all the top guys, and we went with the Vanderlei Silva portrait.
And it's looking really good. What does it take to do superior work like this? So what is the difference to distinguish yourself from the other artists out there?
I think it's all style. I mean, there's so many good artists out there that that do awesome portraits. It's every artist approaches a portrait in their own individual way. I learned everything from Franco Vescovi, which he's a world-known artist, tattoos, Travis Barker, Pink, Carey Hart, you name it, he tattoos them. So I learned from the best, and I'm still trying to develop my style as far as the portraits go.
Nice.
You know, tattoos nowadays, they don't always have a meaning. Like some might, some don't, you know? A lot of people get tattoos for the appreciation of the art. A lot of people come to me and they just tell me, hey, just do whatever, you know, because they know I'm a good artist, and they know that I'm gonna give them a good tattoo, and so they're almost like collecting a piece from a painter, you know? It's like they're collecting a piece from me, you know? That when you go to a painter, you just buy the paintings that are already there. You don't have them make a painting specially for you. You get what I'm saying? So when tattoos nowadays, people will come and they'll just have you do whatever, you know, like along the style that you have, you know. So that's the cool thing about tattoos, that not all tattoos have to have strong meaning behind it, you know. The way I was taught about portraits is that you want to capture every single detail. Like the moment that you start making up your own information is the moment that you change the portrait. It's not a portrait anymore. A lot of portrait artists out there, some of them like to change the portraits, which they look awesome, and some of them like to capture every single detail, every single, you know, speck of shade, you know. They want to capture it just so it looks identical, you know. So that's one of the complicated things about portraits, that you want to have the patience. It's not really about doing the tattoo, it's more the mastering the patience to sit there and take your time in every little detail in the face, so it comes out perfect, you know.
When did you know that you wanted to be a tattoo artist?
At a very young age, I think when I first saw my first tattoo, or our first tattoo on someone, I think I wanted to be a tattoo artist then, you know. But it just took me a while, because it's kind of one of those things like, you know, music, acting, like you want to do it, but you don't know where to get in, you know, like where's the door, you know, who's gonna give me the shot to get in. So it took me a while, and I eventually had a friend that went to prison for a while and came out, and he learned how to make homemade machines in prison, So when he came out, he told me that I would be a good artist, tattoo artist, because of the artwork that I was producing at that time on paper. And he made me a machine, had me tattoo him, and it's history from there.
The rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history.
Here with Dwayne Bang Ludwig, one of my favorites, especially in the striking game, who has moved over to Team Alpha Male, and we know that has paid big dividends for Team Alpha Male. You've been really getting them into the win column, especially up on the feet. What a powerful combination. They already had that wrestling, then to bring you in on striking. How is Team Alpha Male doing?
They're doing lovely. You know, I mean, they're undefeated in the UFC, but, you know, I have world-class athletes that have what I consider the proper information now for stand-up and overall training. I'm the overall head coach, but I'm a coach who adapts to the athlete rather than trying to make Team Alpha Male Dwayne Ludwig. I'm making sure that they could be the Army slogan, the best that they could be. I make sure I adapt. I study a lot of the film. I make sure that, I mean, these guys are putting their careers and their lives in my hand, so I'm gonna make sure I'm working 100% for them, and that's exactly what I do. I take my job very serious.
You also have this great affiliate system line called Bang Muay Thai. Tell us all about that.
What that is, I send 4 to 10 detailed videos to each affiliate per week, showing them exactly what to do from warm up to cool down. It's the same stuff that we're all doing at Team Alpha Male. So, I mean, and again, I make sure that all my affiliates, everyone who's under my guidance, is doing what I feel is proper technical stand-up and striking.
So very important. If you guys are into Muay Thai, it's such an integral aspect of the stand-up game. If you really want to get good at Muay Thai, this is one of the best out there. Trained under some of the best names in the world. Of course, Boss, you and Boss.
Yeah, Boss Roon, yeah, he's my idol. More of a Dutch style base, but I've geared a lot of it now working with these athletes here at Team Alpha Male. We have world-class wrestlers. So we're crossing information over and we're gearing the Thai boxing more for MMA rather than traditional Thai boxing. Like, my Thai boxing is for the cage.
Watch some of his fights, you guys. An absolute treat to watch him. This guy, they don't call him Bang for nothing.
No.
Jay's Brawl Call is brought to you by AKO, American Knockout Wear, where shadows become legends. CNP Professional, the ultimate in sports nutrition. CNP Professional, because it works. And Healthmate Saunas, the leader of the sauna industry since 1979. HealthmateSauna.com.
Talk about a guy who doesn't need any introduction whatsoever, the Iceman, Chuck Liddell, in the house. First off, thanks for spending time with us, Chuck.
No problem, my pleasure.
Yeah. We're talking about Dana, of course, and You guys have a long history. He was managing you way back in the day. I know he's really taking care of you. You know, there was the thing of the retirement. I think it's safe to say you didn't want to retire at the same time he wanted you to retire.
No, I don't think that was the case. Actually, you know, I mean, we talked. I mean, the thing is, everyone thinks, oh, he told me to retire. Look, I had a meeting with him at dinner. He really thought I was going to come, and he was going to ask me to retire, and he thought I was going to come and ask him for a fight. And I came to the dinner to tell him, you know what, I don't think I'm going to do it anymore, because he said, you know, I don't want. He had said that, you know, if you want, I don't want to fight you anymore. I'm not going to fight you anymore. If you want to fight, you're going to have to go somewhere else. And I came to him. I said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I made a decision. I went and talked to my family and my friends, and you know, and I respect his opinion too. We don't always agree, but you know, I respect his opinion, and we went in. He was happy. He was happy I made that decision. I just said, just give me a couple months. Let me adjust to this before we have to announce it, so I have to tell people. So it wasn't. I mean, he didn't strong arm me to retire. He wanted me. He let it. That was well known. I knew where he stood on it, and I took that into account too. I mean, it's all part of things. He's one of the guys I respect for that, and you know, him and John Hackelman didn't always agree on my career, but both of them had my best interest in mind. You know, they didn't always agree on what was my best interest, but they both did. So you know, it was one of those things. I mean, I think people really think he's strong. I mean, oh, you shouldn't let him do that. You know, Dana knows me. I think Dana knows me a little better than that too. I'm hard-headed. If you come and tell me I can't do something, you might get me doing it just to spite you. And so he basically said, I can't fight you anymore, and I don't want to see it. I don't think you should fight anymore. And I said, you're right. You know, I've made that decision with my family and my trainers, and that's where we're at. Can't complain.
And what a life you've had, and what a great career. One of the, if not the most recognizable faces in the sport. We thank you for all you've done, and man, love to see you out there again. But you know, when we do see you, we get to see you at the events.
Yeah, you know, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks.
I'm here with Dr. John Fitzgerald at HealthMate Saunas, and this technology, I don't know a lot about it, but the little I do know is absolutely fascinating. It's much more than a sauna, doctor. It's not just about losing weight, right?
Right. It's about the infrared technology, and why I use it primarily is everybody knows about cutting weight. Right when you have to cut for a weigh-in, that's any sauna just to lose water weight. But what the big advantage comes to at these is recovery. Because how fast you can recover is how fast you can get rid of the metabolites that you just produced during that exercise session. So say I'm training 2-3 times a day, and I'm the blood doctor that does all the stuff at most of these big fight gyms. I'm based out of Extreme Couture, so I work over there with Randy, and we use these. But when somebody exercises, they build up a lot of waste products, and then they have to go do it again 5 hours later for their second session again a day. If you've done that for a month, you're pretty worn down. So you have to do things to recover. What we do is we load the athletes up with enzymes, and we stick them in here for 10 to 20 minutes after their session. If you just use a regular sauna, mostly what you lose is water weight. It's about 97% water weight, 3% waste products. When you get in these infrared saunas, after you exercise, you lose 80% water, and you lose 20% waste products. So what it does, by taking a bunch of enzymes, jumping in these things after your exercise session, you recover at a much faster rate. So that's kind of our trick over at Extreme Couture, is utilizing all these tools to help the athletes recover faster.
I don't want to get too scientific, but I'm very curious about how infrared actually gets rid of waste products and toxins in the body.
Well, the infrared rays penetrate your body, and that's one of the things that's optimal, is you need them coming in from all angles. So why we like these is because it's got the infrared coming in from both sides. Sometimes you'll see them with just a big glass barrier and it's only got infrared coming in from one side. They're not as effective at recovery. And that's the whole optimization thing here, is how fast can you to recover. So it penetrates your body, and what's also nice about it is you don't have to have the heat as high. get the same kind of effect. So another thing where you might have it up to 190 degrees, here you could be at 135 degrees, and you could be actually excreting more waste products out of your skin for that recovery.
I would imagine that this is an incredible tool for people who are trying to stay healthy, because really what aging is inflammation and toxins in the blood and the cells, and this would be a good way of getting the poisons out.
Yeah, it is. Well, we use all of that stuff. We use enzymes, we use green drinks. So our recovery protocols go for healthy stuff. We make green smoothies, powdered vegetables in them. We take electrolytes. We don't just take a bunch of worthless protein with artificial sweeteners. We do all of these things in our basis. I wrote this book around it. It's called Fat Loss of Truth, but it utilizes all the methods that have been used forever, short-term fasting, what wrestlers, Olympic wrestlers have been using since Olympic wrestling had weight classes, is skipping meals and stuff like that, because what it does is during those times it helps your body detox at a faster rate. So then when you jump in here, you just amplify the effects of that. So it's not the same. You know, when you go to the old-time sauna and throw water on a bunch of rocks, it produces a bunch of steam. Mostly what you're doing is you're losing water weight, and it's not speeding your recovery. You see, you got to get in this infrared technology, and you got to get it coming at you from both sides to fully do it. And then another thing on this one that I like, it's got lights on it. It's got the LED lights, so you get light therapy at the same time, which is nice because we rotate it through. And say if you're in Iowa, I'm from Iowa originally, and during wrestling season, you don't have a lot of sun out there, and people get the seasonal affective disorder from low vitamin D. You get in here and rotate it through while you're recovering, so you're pumping yourself full of that vitamin D also. And now there's all this research on endurance related to vitamin D. So you're actually killing a lot of birds with one stone by utilizing these saunas.
Healthmatesauna.com. You got to find out about this infrared technology. It is so much more than just a sauna, as Dr. John Fitzgerald just told you. John, thank you so much for being with us.
All right, nice meeting you.
Good job.
Jay's Brawl Call is brought to you by CNP Professional, the ultimate in sports nutrition. CNP Professional, because it works. Healthmate Saunas, the leader of the sauna industry since 1979. Healthmatesauna.com. And AKO, American Knockout Wear, where shadows become legends.
Here with UFC nine-time champion Matt Hughes. First off, that is just an amazing record to have. We were talking a little bit before we went on camera. You said someone's got you by now. Who's got you? Because we thought back in the day that was going to last a long time.
Yeah, records are meant to be broke, just a matter of time. I'm sure George has beat it. Anderson has probably got, there's probably two guys in front of me now. So, yeah, I've never been a guy to really hold on to those records because they're going to get broke.
Well, January, you retired from the sport, and when I look at you and your illustrious career, I think it would be pretty hard for you to stop fighting because you loved it so much. Tell us a little bit about how retirement is treating you.
I'm a doer. When I wake up in the morning, I want to do something, and then when I go to bed, I'm pissed off that I'm not doing something, and I dream about working on the farm. So it's tough not doing what I really want to do, and that's hang out with my buddies, work out twice a day, and compete. So it's just been a little bit different, but got a great family at home, great support. So I'm just taking one day at a time, and I'm staying very active. So with a wife, you do that. So she's always got me doing stuff. So so far it's been great. No complaints. I just wish I was a little younger. I'm 39. The fighters in the UFC are probably 26 to 32, and that age gap just gets me.
Yeah, it's amazing when you get to the level that you guys are at, when it's so elite. All it takes is just one little separation in the age, and you can drop out real fast.
It's that split second. That's if you're down a split second, you're going to lose. So I don't have the reaction time I used to, and that could be a big problem.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the welterweight division. What a great guy to talk about. We all know GSP's had dominance for so long. Who do you think he's going to get next, and who do you think will be sort of the next king in that division?
There's a couple guys. Well, he's scheduled to fight Johnny Hendricks next, and that's a good fight for George. I think if you look at paper, if George looks at a piece of paper, Johnny Hendricks, that's not what he wants. Johnny's a very good wrestler with very heavy hands, and that's probably what George doesn't want to face. He doesn't want somebody he can't take down, and he doesn't want somebody who's going to hit him very hard on his feet. So it's going to be a really good match between those two. I don't know when it's slated to here in the fall sometime, but be a good fight. And another great fight for him would be Robbie Lawler, and Robbie Lawler's the same thing. Very good wrestler, hard to take down, and yet if he hits you with either one of his hands, you're probably going to fall.
We're always talking about super fights, one guy coming up, one guy going down. They're always talking, about Anderson facing GSP, or will Anderson go up and face John Jones? We've heard John Jones start talking some smack on Anderson, saying I can beat him. So maybe John Jones has been given the green light from Dana to maybe go for the super fight in a higher weight division.
Well, I don't think the UFC never came to me and said, we need you to say this or hype this or this and that. Everybody's just their own person. So somebody's asked John Jones about Anderson coming up, and John's giving his opinion. And I would find it tough for Anderson to want to go up and fight that heavier guy with a longer reach than Anderson. Great wrestling, stronger, bigger. I think it would just be a tough match for Anderson. Anderson, great fighter, no doubt about it. But that John Jones is a whole different story.
Whole different story, and they actually remind me of each other. John Jones, a younger version, a stronger version, a taller version, more reach version. It's a horrible fight for Anderson.
When you look at paper, John Jones is the guy that Anderson is the guy Anderson always beats everybody with. So he would be facing a tough guy there.
Yeah. Now, conversely, Anderson would love GSP. GSP would really have to puff up, and he'd probably have to get heavier for a longer amount of time too, not just a puff up heavy.
Well, it all depends on what George wants to do. When you puff up, you get a little bit slower. So he might want to keep his sharpness, maybe come in at 75. That's only 5 pounds over. It all depends. I think George could do well because of his takedown game. George is not a great wrestler, but what he does so well at, he transitions from his striking to wrestling so smooth and so quick, people can't distinguish what's going on. So I think that being said, I think he could really play a good game with Anderson. That's an interesting fight. Both of them, George versus Anderson or Anderson versus Jones. I think the heavier guy has the advantage. but that could just be the wrestler in me where you didn't go up in weight class against somebody else.
Nicely done. Nine-time UFC champion, Mr. Matt Hughes. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you too.
All right.
Jay's Brawl Call is brought to you by Healthmate Saunas, the leader of the sauna industry since 1979. HealthmateSauna.com. AKO, American Knockout Wear, where shadows become legends. And CNP Professional, the ultimate in sports nutrition. CNP Professional, because it works.
Well, from very humble beginnings, Dana White himself told us $44 million in the hole. These guys were in major trouble. So now, thousands and thousands of people coming to visit Fight Week, hundreds and hundreds of vendors giving the UFC their money. You have got to give props to the UFC, the global leader in MMA. I'm Jay Adams. We'll see you next time on Brawl Call.